Hi, I'm Lynn from Memoryz. I'm so excited to be here for another episode of our caregiving interview series. I am honored to have Larry with us today. Larry, do you mind introducing yourself?
Well, my name is Larry Greiner. Currently in Baltimore, Maryland, caring for my mom who has Alzheimer's.
Great. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your story with us today. So Larry, how long have you been a caregiver for?
Overall, through the years, probably about 5.5 years. It's been off and on. My home is actually in Southern California. My life is currently in a storage locker in Southern California, but I'm back here in Baltimore taking care of my mom. That's where I grew up, and that's where her house is. And I've basically relocated the past 3 years since 2018 to be here in order for us to keep our mom in her house for as long as possible. So that's again 3 stints. I did a 3.5 month leave of absence back in 2013, then came back a year later and was home all of 2014. At those times, I was relieving my brother who had the formal care and was here full time. And now this most recent stint has been 3.5 years taking care of my mom.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, how was it like getting the diagnosis in the beginning?
Well, the diagnosis was, of course, came somewhat of a shock to us because my mom had been living independently for a number of years. Once my youngest brother moved out of the house, there was really nobody around to see the changes that were going on. Subsequently, she had a physical accident where she broke her ankle and was in the hospital for a while. And that's pretty much where we became aware of her diagnosis, starting with the dementia. So it's been about 11 years since that diagnosis at that point. My brother, Howard, had been the one that was doing the primary care for her for about 4 to 5 years on his own since he was closest in proximity. At that point in time, again, I was out in California, so there's certain things that you don't see from a distance and you can't tell when you're on the phone. But that's pretty much how I came to know that she was going through a majority of those changes. And again, who's to know that it's actually Alzheimer's or dementia at a certain time? It's just your parents are getting a little bit older and they're regressing in some of their activities, and you don't know until, boom, she had the accident and the doctor was actually able to tell us that, yeah, she had those symptoms of Alzheimer's.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What are some of the symptoms you've noticed, the things that you notice are different?
Well, I think one of the things that we can kind of put two and two together, when she was living alone and we would come home to visit, she was still living independently, and I guess we thought taking care of herself well enough, but evidently she wasn't. She was regressing from all of her normal activities, and eventually that led to, of course, not taking the medication, not getting enough exercise, and all those little necessities that go on with taking care of oneself, especially when you're alone. Specifically the one with no activity, I know eventually led to her having her accident where she had broken her ankle. And again, that's what started the spiraling of us getting to know exactly what was going on with her as far as her dementia and her Alzheimer's was concerned. So, it was a kind of as you went type thing versus, okay, oh, mom's got dementia, now we have to take care of her. After the fact, actually. And it's one thing that I started to learn after a while, after seeing a lot of her doctors through the years, that a lot of symptoms start way before you recognize that you even have the disease. And they can start back in your late 30s in some cases. We don't know when it actually started with our mom because we were not here. But for all intents and purposes, I was lucky to have my brother close enough to be able to watch over her during those early times. When she was having some issues, but again, we weren't for sure until the doctor actually told us after she had broken her ankle. So,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You had mentioned your brother, so how is the family situation like? Do you guys take turns taking care of your mom, or one person kind of take care of her at the moment?
Well, I am the primary caregiver. I mean, we're lucky enough to have somebody that comes in every single day that takes care of her immediate needs, clothing her, bathing her, meals, and things of that manner. I relocated back from California to spend full time with my mom. I don't want to just be here I'm not a babysitter. I'm basically trying to give her as much life experience as possible. And that's when she's actually capable. I mean, she's not a morning person, so we can't do anything in the morning. In the evenings, it gets a little bit tougher because she fatigues at that point, and her sundowners is pretty bad at that point. But during the days, or when we have the opportunity to get out to a local park or to an aquatherapy class we used to go to pre-COVID, those were the opportunities that she was able to get the physical activity which she needs. She was able to get the personal interaction, which is extremely important for anybody with this disease, regardless of what stage. I think that physical interaction with others, to have conversations that aren't just the normal ones you'd have at home, are extremely important to keep the mind active. And it makes a difference, though she's not coherent or remembers any of the conversations she had 5 minutes earlier. During that time that she does have those interactions, it's really an eye-opening experience, and I'm beaming for the fact that she's communicating quite vividly with people that she has no clue who they are, but they just love her because she is so engaging with them at those times.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big commitment, relocating and spending time with your mom and being there, being engaged. And what are some ways you find you can engage her? Seems like there are moments that she really enjoys herself and she's having a lot of a great time. Like, what are some ways you find it's helpful to get her engaged?
I'm lucky in a sense that she's grown up with music. She sang with the Baltimore Symphony Chorus here for over 25 years. She's always constantly been involved in some capacity with music. She was an accomplished piano player and sang a number of church choirs. And so that music is ingrained into her. I recognized when I was here, my first few times, is that playing some of the classical music that she loves, she automatically focuses right on that song that she knows. It's finding that music that she's familiar with, which is best. But just because of her love of music, she can enjoy other types of music also that she can just get into, and whether or not it's hummed to or do what I call hand jiving, hand dancing or whatever, it just brought out another personality in her, one that we really never saw when we grew up. But the opportunity for her to be able to listen to a lot of the music that she loved throughout her life has been a blessing. To watch her sing it, to watch her facially express the music, with her eyebrows and with her body movements and all those things, it changes her. It puts her focus into a more happier light. And that's one of the biggest things that I've learned, how to elicit that reaction in her. I know it's tough with any loved one that you're taking care of, to try and hit that part of them that brings their personality out. Music does it for my mom, and so does chocolate ice cream. So you learn that, and then now you kind of have a tool to work with to enjoy your day, enjoy your moments with others, to basically have special times with her just because you know what she's going to react to. Again, it's a shame that she does not remember those moments, but my philosophy is if I give her enough moments one after another, she's had a good day. And then at that point, I've had a good day. And it's therapeutic for both of us.
Right. I mean, music is so powerful, and it's so important for a caregiver to find what clicks with their loved one, to use that as a tool.
Yeah. And it's amazing that everybody has it in their past. You didn't have to be involved with it, but everybody sang Christmas songs. Everybody can sing Happy Birthday, and there's always something popular that you can bring back to them. They don't have to remember the lyrics. Mom doesn't always remember the lyrics, but she can hum the tune, and she can pick it up as she starts to hear it over and over. I don't play a lot of new stuff all the time. I like to play those things that I know that she enjoys, but then you can grow from that. And it's easier for her to take on that challenge, just for the fact that she's always had music in her life. So she's got a heck of a repertoire. I'm always amazed at times at what she remembers. If I hear something on the radio and all of a sudden she starts singing it, voila. Now I have another tool to use, or another song to use later on, to bring her out of that sad focus that she's in during the course of the day. You know, they all get into this trance where, you know, if you were to ask them what are they thinking, they really can't formulate any thoughts as to what was going on in their mind. So at that point in time, I want to kind of change that focus into something that I know that they're familiar with, or for that I know that they're going to enjoy. Music does it for us.
That's wonderful.
Mm.
You had also mentioned that pre-COVID, there were some activities you like to do or take mom to do, or you guys do together. How has the COVID situation changed things for you?
Well, the COVID situation, especially in the early months, you know, eliminated those opportunities of being around people. We're lucky to we have a park that's within 10 minutes of our house. That allowed us to at least sit at a picnic table, and you can properly distance there. So that was special, extra special. But of course, in the wintertime, you can't go to the park and sit at a picnic table. Going out into a store, just walking in a store, she would constantly get into conversations with the cashier because it was a person in front of her that she would love to just interact with. You know, are you married? Hey, you're cute. You know, how many? Oh, I love your dress. Those kind of things. COVID took that away from us because we lost all those different opportunities. The aquatherapy class that we were in Tuesdays and Thursdays each week, there was a group of 50 women that she was in a pool with for an hour that she could interact with, just singing with, general conversation, but you're in close proximity. So of course that was eliminated. The park saved us in a big way. It's kind of tough for her to relate to somebody on a Zoom call because she doesn't know who's talking and all that, and that's just her inexperience, you know, with dealing with persons that aren't in front of her. But that was the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge definitely was taking away those opportunities of being in front of others that can make a difference for her. You know, there's only two of us that live here, or actually I live here full time in the house and our daily caregiver, but we're not constantly always in front of her. You know, we're out doing some other activities or necessities for the house or whatever. She needs that. She needs that exposure to others. And that's basically what the park has given us, but also what COVID took away from us too.
Right. I mean, that's unfortunate, and that's definitely not. That's definitely affecting a lot of people. You know, a lot of elderlies are going to be a little bit more isolated, less activities and social interactions happening.
Right.
Now I just want to change gears a little bit to talk about how you as a caregiver, have you experienced any burnout? Do you have any support system? Or I know you have your brother, which is great. Do you have, you know, other groups or people that you can talk to when you're feeling a little bit stressed, overwhelmed?
I'm a lucky person. I'm a very lucky person. I have a lot of people in my life that do check in on me, you know, whether or not it's just a text, hey, we're thinking about you, or a call once a month or so that really pick me up. I'm very lucky to have my brother Howard that's within 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes drive. If I need some help right there and then, he would pop over at a split notice. But I want him to live his life. He's done his part. 4 to 5 years doing a lot of that caregiving on his own. I'm lucky that my sister comes down once every 1.5 to 2 months to give me a sustained break that I can get back to California or take a little road trip to sort of regenerate my body. You never really get a total release. Your mind is never out of this. Physically, and get a little extra sleep. But, you know, once you're into this and you know what's going on with my mom or basically with your loved one, it never completely leaves you at all, you know. So I'm lucky in that sense. So I'm able to get a little bit of time here and there, but my main goal being here wasn't to quote unquote come home and have a social life. I'm actually forced to go out and do things. You know, my brother and my sister, hey, listen, you go do what you got to do and we'll cover for you. A lot of people don't have that. And that's one of the things I've recognized over time with the contact that I've had with a number of people online, that they don't have the support system that I have. But there are still ways. There's still ways that, you know, friends can help out. An hour here, 15 minutes here or there can make a difference for a caregiver. But for me personally, my burnout comes regularly because this is as I say, a job that nobody wants, or I say to a lot of people, it's a fraternity nobody wants to be in. You're constantly watching, you know, your loved one digress, because of the disease. So again, you can't escape it, even though you might have a night out on the town, because you always know what you're coming home to. I think a lot of my burnout also comes from not knowing, okay, what's my long-term future going to be? I really can't think about that because, again, I'm here for the duration, for whatever we're going to do with mom. So, but I'm still lucky. I say I'm lucky because I have the support system that backs me when I desperately need it.
Also curious about the role of like social media or like Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, if you're involved in any social media, or the role of social media in your caregiving experience.
Well, Facebook, that has actually changed my life over the past year. The experiences I have with my mom, which I was mentioning about, is, I'll start playing some music for her and she kind of does her hand jive, dancing, whatever. I have a ton of it. I got a couple thousand videos at this point of her just enjoying life and doing it out in public where people are able to see that and enjoy it. She enjoys doing it for others. I've posted a number of these videos, not just on my personal Facebook page, but I also am a member of a number of caregiver support groups online, probably about 6 or 7, that I started posting those videos also over the past number of months. And those have happened to, it's amazing. They've impacted so many people, because they've kind of put a different face on dementia and the care for a dementia or Alzheimer's loved one. I know I got a response from one woman. She said, you made dementia fun by, bringing out the personality in my mom, or showing that music can bring out the personality in your loved one, because it is a part of the brain, they say, that maintains itself when you play that music. Whether or not, again, if they're humming or singing, it doesn't make any difference. You've touched them in a way that you really can't find, any other way. Sometimes music just seems to be that magical thing that's available to everybody. For mom, in the videos that we've posted, they've actually gone viral worldwide. And that's another thing that's kind of kept me grounded, and it's been therapeutic for me, and evidently therapeutic for a lot of people that have seen her videos. They say that they see mom going crazy with the music. Well, that reminds them of their loved one. And, it's been bringing, it's bringing people to tears. And it's been to the point where if I don't post a video, people are wondering, is everything okay with mom? She's not in the hospital or something like that. So I've taken on myself to specifically post something for everybody, not just for myself, but to show mom and her enjoyment of life, her enjoyment of seeing children walk before her, or getting into conversations with people in a local nursery, and just those interactions alone show that the person is still there, the personality is still there. You just have to find a way to bring it out. And mom just basically shines. She doesn't know she's being filmed most of the time. She's just being herself. And that has been, again, therapeutic for myself, and evidently therapeutic for a lot of people that do see her online. So that's how I use the social media at this point. I never expected it to be as impactful as it has been, but it's now created sort of a family of people out there that are constantly following mom and following what I have to say. I don't post a lot of my quote unquote insightful posts with how I'm feeling and the sad moments. I've done a couple because it is important for people to know that regardless if mom is just showing a happier side right now, she's going through the same sundowners, anger, frustration, mood changes that everybody else's loved one is also going through. And along with that, I'm going through the same emotions and frustrations, lack of patience sometimes, that everybody else is going through. But it's just at those times in those videos, we can kind of shut that off and enjoy the moments of basically, hey, there's a special person inside. Let's go and watch her, do her thing to the music.
Yeah, I love the videos you're sharing of your mom. Like, they are so inspirational because they highlight, like you mentioned, like a positive side as well, that just shows how your mom is such an energetic person. And you can just tell that her personality just shines through. So that's great. And I think people watching your videos will really get a sense of who your mom is.
Mhm.
and how you're doing such a great job taking care of your mom, and you guys make a great team.
I appreciate it. Hey, and I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. I make this up as I go along. I think if there's one easy part about it, as we say, caring for a memory care loved one, um, it's Groundhog's Day every day. You know what to expect from them. Now you just have to react to it. I recognized in this that the only person that stays consistent during this whole journey is the person with the disease. They're always going to forget. They're always going to be in their sundowner mode. They're always going to be in the lack of focus. They're going to be in pain and all those things. The person that's changing is that caregiver. It's because it's that roller coaster of emotions that you go through. It's how you deal with those emotions at those times that make you stronger, sustain you, help your loved one, and just keep moving on. Again, my goal is to, or our goal is to keep her in this home as long as possible. Um, but you never know what this disease is going to bring. It affects everybody differently. But if I knew that if I was not here, and it was just the caregiver, my mom would just be sitting watching TV probably for a good 80% of the day. That's not good physically. And if it's not good physically, it's definitely not good for her mental state also. So I do see the difference in keeping her busy and challenged and within whatever activities we can do on a daily basis.
Great. Yeah, so any other like final thoughts or advice you want to share with with maybe just a caregiver who's seeking for some advice and tips on how you're managing, or things you can do when you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed? You mentioned about your great support system.
Mhm.
Anything you learned through this story or journey that you would like to share with others?
Well, they say patience is a virtue, but I say that actually it's an understatement saying that it's a virtue. Patience is, it's what's necessary to get through this. You got to learn how to deal with it, how to uh, channel it in a way that you don't affect, your loved one. Whether or not you have to step out of a room, take 10 breaths. If you got to step in the back and take, shed your tears there versus showing your pain, learn how to do that, because they're going to come. Those emotions are going to be there regardless of how you try. That's one big thing. Stay connected. A hug here and there, a kiss on the forehead. Let them know that you're there physically all the time, because that's another thing that a lot of loved ones don't always get, and that's that physical contact with someone that they can appreciate. Everybody loves a little back rub, so do they. Um, a lot also depends on the individual loved one. What their past was like, what their personality was. Try to tap in on what they enjoyed. If it's not music, guys, no, it could be a television show. At least give them some kind of stimulation that they can react to, try to think to, keep the mind busy. That's extremely important. But just leaving them alone, to dwell in their own thoughts, and God knows we really don't know what's going on in their mind because they can't tell you. Try to fill that mind with something that that they'll enjoy, and that really will help you out. You got to do it on a regular basis, because again, if you know that they're enjoying the moment, then you're going to enjoy the moment. And I think that's some of the best advice I can give at this point.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, great tips, advice for everyone. It's been a really amazing interview. I think the biggest takeaway was how many times I heard you say the word lucky, which is not something that you hear a lot from, caregivers, because it's a difficult process.
I'm lucky to be here. I'm lucky to be here, and that I didn't have a family back in California. I didn't have a mortgage. I had a great company that understood why I had to leave. I was lucky enough to come home and relieve my brother. I was lucky enough to come home and spend this time with my mother. I was lucky enough to find that one thing that gets to her, that makes her enjoy her life, even if it's briefly during the course of a day. I'm lucky that we were able to impact so many others that's keeping this going, you know. Um, I don't say I'm lucky to be a part of this, because I would love for everybody not to be a part of this. This is not something you would want to wish on anybody, the person suffering or the person that's caregiving. It's the hardest thing and the best thing I've ever done in my life. And anybody that's done this would tell you the same. I hurt for those that are going through it. I'm scared to hear a lot of the stories of how somebody's loved one has progressed and what are all the possibilities could happen because of the disease. I don't know the path that my mom is on. I can see it happening in front of my face right now because I'm here 24/7. That's hard. That's definitely hard. But I'm lucky to be here to have that knowledge to progress to get through it. If my brother or sister stepped in here, they can kind of see it, but they don't know how to deal with it on a regular basis because they're not here. They don't know what kind of gets mom into a different mode. How do they get her to the next step? How do we get her through the day and all those things? So that's going to affect them directly. For me, yeah, it affects me, but I kind of can put that on the back burner and do what's best for her at that time and not worry about myself. So I'm lucky to be able to do that. And if mom is benefiting from it, then it's all worthwhile.
Right. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing with us and taking the time to tell us your story. I just want to say, you have such a strong spirit. It's, you make it sound so easy, but I'm sure it's been a very difficult journey as well, finding that connection with your mom,
Mhm.
and you really highlight the importance of focusing on not just the difficult part, but also the things that make you smile, the things that make you realize who your mom is as a person. So that's really important reminder for all of us as well.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
so really great to have you with us today. That concludes another episode of our Memoryz Caregiver interview series. Um, we'll see you next time. And thank you everybody for watching. Thank you so much, Larry.
Thank you very much, Lynn. You have a good evening.
Thanks, you too.